Welcome to Building Toronto's Skyline, a podcast exploring the current state of Toronto's condominium industry from a unique, constructive perspective through engaging and entertaining podcast interviews with the many stakeholders in the industry. Here's the founder and CEO of Fusion Core Developments, Inc., and author of Building Toronto's Skyline, the host of this podcast, Nick Ainis.
All right.
Nick,
Toronto Mike,
how you doing, buddy?
Here.
Episode 1. I am so excited. I'm talking over you already. How are you doing?
I'm super excited too. I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me to your studio. It's a fantastic studio. It's very genuine. It's
the real
authentic.
deal.
It's authentic. These are the places where you want to record a podcast.
And in no way are you disappointed. It's a little smaller than you envisioned. It's got its charm, right?
Actually, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Is that right?
A good way to say it?
Okay. No, listen, I aim to please, so that feels good to hear. Now, this is the first episode of your podcast. So in this episode, I am going to help the listeners learn more about you. Many people hear you every other week on Humble and Fred.
Yes, that's right. I'm a guest on Humble and Fred, and I on a segment called the Condo Report, and I love talking
Condo Report.
The Condo Report, and I love talking to those guys. A lot of fun, and we get some information out to the audience about condos, and but we've got a brief 10-15 minutes to summarize everything. I think we want to. On the purpose of the podcast is to get more in depth into some of the issues in the Toronto condo industry, from construction to marketing to financing to the market in general, and some of the things and the problems that we have every day. A lot of people don't know what it's like to build a building. It's very hard. Very, very hard.
So on this podcast, we'll dive a little deeper. We'll extract some further detail. We'll flesh out some of the nice coloring around everything you're doing. But I say in that intro that you, Nick Ainis, are the founder and CEO of Fusion Core Developments, Inc. And maybe we begin by you telling me, what is Fusion Core Developments, Inc., and how was it birthed? How did it come to be?
Okay, well, it's Fusion Corp Development.
So the P, you got to go hard. Look,
Fusion
I'm learning
Corp,
already.
You got to go hard on the P, okay?
Fusion Corp.
Yes. So Fusion Corp, we're a construction management company. And, I've been doing this for probably over 24 years. I studied architecture at Ryerson. It was a great school to learn a little bit about buildings. And everybody wanted to, the condo industry was actually just booming right around 97 when I graduated. So it was a really good time to get out there in the industry and get some work. I had this nemesis. His name was Alex. Hopefully he doesn't remember that he was my nemesis, but probably doesn't even know about it. And he said, I got to work for a developer. I would only work for a developer. So I said, you know what? I got to do what that guy's doing. And it kind of inspired me to get out there. And as always, you need a little bit of competition to get the engine rolling. But it was a fantastic opportunity for me. I worked right into the condo industry. I worked for some really good developers like Shupong Developments. They're a Hong Kong-based company, but they're based here in Toronto as well. And then I worked for Intracorp Developments. I worked on the Pantages Towers. That was one of the highest hotel residential towers in Toronto at the time. So can you believe it? It was 45 stories. And now they're building condo towers over 300 meters.
Wow.
Yeah, very exciting.
Now, you didn't become an architect.
No, I didn't. I was in at Ryerson. You can actually, there's 3 options. You can go design, you can go building science, and project management. So I fell into the category of project management, and thank God I did.
Well, shout out to Art Vandelay. If he's listening, he became an architect.
Oh,
you know this name? This is Art. This is the
I don't
pseudonym.
know if I want to know this one.
No, it's George Costanza on Seinfeld.
I remember that.
Occasionally become Art Vandelay architect. Yeah. So you didn't.
Well, I never met him. And this Alex individual.
So you follow him? Do you lurk on his LinkedIn account? What's he up to?
I certainly don't follow him, and but I want to keep going. I want to keep going about my story here. So when I was at Intercorp, I had a good friend. His name was Daniel Wajwazer, and we were the original founders of Fusion Corp. And we said, well, let's go with Fusion Homes. Fusion is like combining of the elements.
Right.
So I think there's a meaning behind the madness. And so what we did, but we couldn't get that name when we tried to register it through Corporations Canada.
Right.
And so what we did was we added the Intra Corp, and we added that to Fusion Corp, and that's how we got the name, and it was a beautiful day.
And many years later, Toronto Mike would mispronounce it and leave the P out of
Fusion Core. Fusion Core.
That's not a bad name either.
And it's Nick Ainis, by the way. Nick Ainis.
I was told by a mutual friend it was Nick Ainis, so I feel I need to go back to David and tell him no. So say it one more time slowly.
Ainis. Ainis. Can you repeat after me?
Okay, I'm gonna type it out phonetically. Okay, I-E, and then like knees.
Ainis.
Ainis.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful last name, even if it has multiple pronunciations.
Actually, there's a story behind that.
Let me hear it.
So Ainis, the name, it's a lot of Greeks, and I found out later a lot of Italians, because later on Facebook you see all these people Ainis, but they're from Italy.
Right.
So Ainis was an ancient city in Greece, and they were coin makers. Can you believe it?
Well, that's why you're making some cash here.
Oh, I'm making some cash, sure.
All right, so
let me finish my story.
Oh my gosh,
I'm not done.
I'm
not
clinging
done.
to every word here.
I just started. But so the good thing about Fusion Corp, we started off, it was more of like a part-time job, and we did a few small jobs on the side here and there. Probably shouldn't be saying that. You should be working with your employer and never doing anything on the side. But
I'll fix it in post.
Yes. So what we ended up doing was we eventually found a job. Was right across the street from Daniel's. He's the site super. Maybe we'll have him as a guest one of these days and talk to him about construction. And one of the things we did was we found our first job. That's when I went full time. And then from there, basically, I was more of more of a consulting role and construction company. And then basically around 2010, that's when I became Terrion registered as a builder. And once I was registered as a builder, we took off from there. So that was around 2010.
Okay.
So really, I would say the real good start for Fusion Corp was around 2010, and we have never looked back. We've done some incredible jobs over the years. We're very focused on multi-unit residential construction. We've done everything from commercial to low-rise residential. So that would be your single-family detached homes. We've done townhouses, stacked townhouses. We've done wood-frame condos, wood panelized condos. We've done your core slab type projects, total precast projects, regular standard conventional condos, mid-rise, high-rise condos, and we've done them all. So we really specialize in this. We're starting our first hotel job recently, and so we've got a lot of, and we built an office building. We've built many custom homes for clients and whatnot over the years. Those are the smaller jobs, but we have a small general contracting division that handles that.
Wow, a lot going on in the Fusion Corp development world here.
Yes.
Now, because I listened to Humble and Fred, and I've heard your many fine appearances on that program, I know that there's a wonderful Orangeville development going on. I've been to 60onbroadway.com. I've checked it out. So is this one of your more recent completions?
Yes, that's my client calling me right now from 60 on Broadway.
Is that really? Because you know what? Because we're live. He's hearing the reference. I got Alex on line too, by the way. He wants to talk to you. Alex, okay. You're there.
Let's go.
No, I'm just kidding. Oh. All right. So what's going on 60 on Broadway? That's a cool
60 on Broadway.
street.
It's a really, really great. So first of all, Orangeville has got a beautiful charm to it. It's very close to, let's call it Brampton. It's only 30 minutes away. It's on the prime location in Orangeville. So right in the city center. It's got a very historic charm to it, so it's a beautiful location. We have a boutique condo that we're building there, 56 units. It's a beautiful building, and we're going out to market very soon.
Does your producer get one as a bonus?
Which producer might that be?
The handsome one you're looking at right now.
Yeah.
No, we'll talk about that later. So okay, so
we'll do anything for you, Mike. You know that.
Is anything? Remember that old Cadbury chocolate bar commercial?
Anything?
You're the voice that says anything.
I know that one.
Okay, good. Because you didn't know Art Vandelay.
No, I do. Actually, Art Vandelay now rings a bell.
It's come back to you. Well, you know, the 90s were a long time ago. You've been working hard since 2010 when you got that Terry-on license. So lots going on. But I don't want to overlook the fact that you literally wrote the book. The book is called Building Toronto's Skyline. Similar name to this podcast, which is also called Building Toronto Skyline. What made you write the book? What is the book about? Give me a little insight into the book that is titled Building Toronto Skyline.
So I guess where do we start? So I'm a serial entrepreneur, as you may probably recognize. So I'd have Fusion Corp. We have another company called FC Entertainment and Hospitality Inc., which owns an event venue. We're in the middle of building that, or going to be starting construction soon. And we're just getting the approvals there. So there's, and then I have, all sorts of little ventures that I'm looking at. And I said, hey, you know what? I want to do something. Well, that's the whole point here. I wanted to do some kind of a podcast, possibly a book. So not knowing what I was doing, I said, okay, I wanted to do something about showcasing some of the condos from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And then it morphed into Building Toronto Skyline. It was more of a historic view of the Toronto condo industry, starting in the late 60s into the present day. And I learned a lot. It was a great opportunity for me. I didn't realize a book would open so many doors for me. I was lucky to meet David Eisenstadt, who is a great promoter.
Even though he's the guy who told me it was Nick Ainis, and now I learned it's Ainis.
We'll give him a
Ainis.
break. We will give him a break. It's your fault.
Ainis. It's all my fault. No, David's a wonderful guy and
super nice, super great guy. Very talented at what he does, and really enjoy working with him. So.
Big David head here. Now, you wrote the book, or did you have a ghostwriter?
Well, I wouldn't call him a ghostwriter. I would call him a co-writer. So he helped me co-write the book because, I think we all need help with the English language. Would you agree?
Well, you're talking to a guy who can't even say Ainis. I want to say Ainis. It's Ainis.
You got it. You're so good at it now that episode 2, you're not going to have any problem.
Also, I'm going to have to give notes, very specific notes, to Humble and Fred. I know Humble introduces you as Nick Ainis, and we're going to fix that as well. Let's get it right. A man's name. Your name is your name. I learned that in the wire.
Ainis, yes.
Ainis. We're going to work on that. Okay, so if somebody's listening now and wants to read Building Toronto Skyline, how do they get their mitts on that book?
It's on Amazon.ca, so anybody can get it. It's very easy to get it. It's a very inexpensive investment, because it's an investment when any knowledge in your life is an investment, of course. And Building Toronto Skyline was a fantastic learning experience for me, and I learned a lot about the history of the condo industry. One thing I learned is that you have to look at the past to understand the future and where we're going. And there's a lot of similarities to where we were in the 90s versus the early 90s and the late 80s to where we are now. And we may see a very quick recovery on the condo market because it's a little bit different from where we were back then. But I think you learn a lot of things in history, and you have to study the patterns.
No, 100%, because there's a little... a mild panic sometimes. I read about things about condos and maybe there's a slowdown or whatever. But you, in the business, what can you say to the current state of the condo market and where you think we're going based on what you've learned?
Yeah, so I would say that we are on uncharted waters in the sort of sake that it is a very challenging market right now. There's high costs. People are trying to get projects approved, but they're pulling the brakes on going out to sales as we speak. So There's a lot of turmoil in the markets right now. There's not a lot of work that not too many people are launching projects, but there are a few. And I think people are waiting for the right opportunity to get back into the market.
Okay. I want to ask you about your hat. So, we've talked about the book is called Building Toronto Skyline. This very podcast that we're recording right now is called Building Toronto Skyline. It's got this fantastic logo, like a black backdrop. You got the white and the yellow. I love it. Where can I get like a medium t-shirt that says Building Toronto Skyline? I want to wear it for episodes of this podcast.
I can get that for you, but it'll be available on buildingtorontoskyline.ca. Did you know that?
No, see, this is important information for the new listeners. This is like a
you can get the merch. Okay. It's all about the merch.
So it's a .ca. So it's buildingtorontoskyline.ca.
That's correct.
And that's where you can go to subscribe to this podcast. That's where you go to get some merch. That's where you go to learn more about Fusion Corp, learn more about the book, learn more about Nick. It's all right there.
And I'm sure I'm going to be on Apple and Spotify and YouTube and all those kinds of great places. And so I just like, it's, I just find this very interesting. I'm passionate about getting out there, talking to people. And I think I was lucky to meet you, Mike. I think that's a blessing in disguise.
What's it disguised as?
It's not a blessing. It's a blessing. How's that? It's a blessing.
Period. No disguise.
Period.
Listen, why do you hesitate? No disguise required here. Yeah. But I know for a fact, now again, with dates, this is now it's happened. So I can tell you make these occasional addresses at the Albany Club at 91 King Street East.
Yes, I had an event at the Albany Club where I talked a little bit about my book, and I had some panelists, and Ben Myers and Richard Joy. Ben Myers being from Bullpen Consulting. He basically studies the market, analyzes the market, does studies for a lot of developers out there. Very good guy, very knowledgeable in his industry. And Richard Joy is the executive director at ULI Toronto, Urban Land Institute. And we had a great discussion after my presentation on the book. And we just talked about the current state of the market. Now, there was, different opinions about what was going on in the market and how to fix it and do all this stuff. But I think we had a wonderful discussion. We had people in the audience engaging and asking questions, and we couldn't ask for a better event.
Awesome. Can't wait to be at the next one. Now, Richard Joy, quick question about him. Is he a happy guy? Like, does he seem joyful?
Well, that's a joke, right?
Yeah, well, because imagine your name was Joy.
He's a very happy guy, and he's a very intelligent guy.
Does he live up to his name? Because imagine your name was Richard Joy, but you were, I'm not saying this is the case of Richard Joy. I'm sure he's a lovely man, but Richard Joy, cranky pants. Like it would be ironic. Right?
But in this case, it was not ironic. He's a very joyful, very happy guy, very, very knowledgeable, and very established in his career. So
amazing. So to recap, everybody can hear you on Humble and Fred every 2 weeks. And how often do you intend to drop new episodes of this podcast, Building Toronto Skyline?
Well, we have a plan that is every 2 weeks. So twice a month, I think we're going to be doing that. And you got to book some guests and get that going.
Good. It'll be a lot of nice cross. I think the Humble and Fred listeners will learn more about you here, and there'll be references there, and then references there to here, and then so it'll be a lot of good synergy. Synergy, yeah. And we'll talk more.
Don't forget about Toronto Mike too, right?
Toronto Mike is my baby, and I've got big ideas for you, Nick. Absolutely. Now, when I said let's go, we're going to record about a half an hour of this first episode. You said I'm going to be asking you questions too. So. Oh, this is your opportunity, Nick. You wanted to.
Well, you want to hear something? You want to hear something funny?
Of course.
I was so tired yesterday, and I had no time, of course, as usual.
Right.
So I asked Chat GPT.
You've got. Wait a minute. You got artificial intelligence doing your work for you?
No.
Because I'm disappointed.
No, I never do that. I never do that. But they had some really good questions here.
All right, I'm ready.
And I think one of the questions I want to ask is what inspired you to start out Toronto Mike podcast?
You know what? A lot of it has to do with Humble and Fred. So I had a blog forever, and blogging was really big in the early 2000s, you might remember. And it was a popular blog at torontomike.com. And then I'm going to just fast forward to like 2006. Humble and Fred were no longer on terrestrial radio, but they wanted to broadcast together. I didn't know this, Nick. You'll find this interesting. I only learned very recently that they wanted, because I pitched to them this idea of a podcast, because podcasts were a burgeoning new format in 2006. And I said, you guys don't need radio stations to broadcast together. So in my mind, we were building a great podcast that would still be successful in 2024. That was my vision. But their vision was, let's do the podcast, and radio program directors will hear how good we sound together and will hire us for their radio station. So this is unbeknownst to me. Their intent with the podcast was to get a radio job, where my intent with their podcast was to be a podcast forever. They could be their own boss. They don't need to worry about radio stations. They can swear. They can do whatever they want. So in 2006, this is a long-winded way of saying, I was the technical producer for Humble and Fred many moons ago, almost 20 years ago, and I watched what they do. And in 2012, I decided to leave my comfort zone, buy some gear, and just do it myself and have interesting people like Nick Ainis.
No, you didn't do it well that time.
Ainis.
There, that's it.
You know what? It's the E. I'm going too hard on the
Ainis.
E. Ainis.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna work on it. But I can do this. I can have a conversation and learn about interesting people, and that's what happened in 2012. I've been recording ever since.
Well, it's a good thing that you did that, because it's a great show, and I think you're doing a great thing in connecting a lot of people, Torontonians, together. Thus the name Toronto Mic'd. And I think you're doing a great job, and I'm grateful to meet you. And
is this Nick talking now, or is this still the AI?
This is the AI. But no, I am grateful, because I was actually wanting to approach you. It's one of those things where you're wanting to do something and then it happens, and that's great when you're trying to be successful at whatever you're doing. Because I am an entrepreneur, I love, I want to grow, do a lot of things in my life. I'm still young enough to go out there and do a lot of things. We all want to be successful people. I love to work, and that's one of the things I like to do. And I love to dream and get out there every day and try to accomplish something. But one of the things is that I noticed in success, when you have a dream, things eventually you attract something and it comes to you. So I met David Eisenstadt by accident. I was able to get in touch with you through that process. And you approached, let's be honest, you approached me, right?
We met at a brewery, and I said, hey, you want to grab a beer at a different brewery? See, Nick, this is the first time we met outside of a brewery.
Are you, we shouldn't.
Do you want a beer?
I think I need one.
Is it too early for one? I'll send you home with some great.
I try not to drink too much, to be honest with you.
Well, you got a lot going on, and you can't afford to be off your game.
That's right.
It's you're a healthy guy. So, but I'm very interested in that comment you made where you wanted to reach out, but did I make you nervous? I've been told I'm an intimidating guy. Were you intimidated by me?
Very intimidated, for sure. That's one of the things that held me back. Okay. No, I think you want to just do the right thing, and you're working with Humble and Fred, and didn't want to step on any toes.
No, there's no. See, if you told me, hey, Mike, I'm dumping Humble and Fred, and I'm going to do something with you instead, I'd be like, Nick, I can't do that because I'm loyal to Humble and Fred. But if I find out you're not dumping Humble and Fred, and you're going to just add on this extra part, now I'm all in.
Oh, that's great. And here we are. And
I find you, I will say this to you before we wrap up, that I find you to be an inspiring guy, because you got a lot going on. You got the hat, you got the backdrop there. You got the book, you got the Fusion Corp. You're a serial entrepreneur. I don't know if that means you're into like Rice Krispies and Shreddies and Cheerios or whatnot, but you're a serial entrepreneur. And I find it inspiring, like what you're up to here. And I can't believe you just gifted me a wonderful condo in Orangeville at the 60 on Broadway development. That's really generous of you.
That never happened. You're dreaming, and I think you better go see someone about that one.
Well, I did record this chat, so if I can't...
Art Vandelay again.
So let's tell people what they can expect. So this podcast, episode 1, is get to know more about Nick, and we'll learn more about you as we proceed, because as I learn more, the listenership will learn more. Again, I find you to be an inspiring, an infectious guy, too. I really like your personality, especially, by the way, of Humble and Fred. You kind of grind their gears a little bit, because they like to grind the gears of their buddies, like, right? And you kind of adapted that, and you give it back, and it comes off really playful and fun on the show. Like, I actually like it when you gently
grind those
guys a bit. Like it's a good dynamic you have on the Humble and Fred show.
Yeah, well, I think that's called good chemistry, and I think we have it, and we have a lot of good chemistry at Humble and Fred. I think it's about being a good communicator at the end of the day, and
right.
Certainly you're a good communicator. They are excellent at what they do. They've been doing it for many, many, many years. Don't tell them I said that because their heads might explode.
Do you think they'll ever hear this episode?
I'm not sure.
You should put a secret word in there, and if Humble or Fred repeat the secret word to you, they listened and they're at this point in the podcast. Give an industry. What's the word? Keyhole. So if keyhole is ever said to you by Humble
maybe
or
keyhole
Fred,
is not a good one. So
you can change it.
Let's say superstructure. Superstructure. It's got to be building Toronto Skyline.
Superstructure. So anyone who says that magic word to you means they heard your debut episode. So what can we expect? Again, we've touched on it, but just to leave people wanting more here. So every couple of weeks, there's a new episode of Building Toronto Skyline. Not every episode is about Nick. So we're going to talk to some insiders. We're going to
talk to some great engaging guests. I think that's what it's all about. We want to learn from, a lot of people, if you notice things that all the shows, they talk about the investors and the financing and the big executives, and those are the people that get all the attention in the industry. But we want to talk to everybody. We want to talk to the trades. We want to talk to some of the site supers. Maybe we can have some engaging stories about what's happening on the job sites. So I think we want to do more of a general investigation, but across the range. We want to be a broad spectrum. We don't want to just focus on one particular aspect of construction and development. It'll be all sorts of things. So,
and would you say this podcast is for anyone with even a remote interest in the condominium industry, or is it more broad than that? In that, if you're interested in the life of a serial entrepreneur trying to make it in this big bad world, this is the podcast for you.
Well, sure. And we're going to be talking about real estate investing. We're going to talk about all sorts of things at the Building Toronto Skyline. We're going to be talking about, there might be another off segment that we're going to see. Being a serial entrepreneur, I probably want to do quite a few things with Toronto Mike, only with Toronto Mike. And by the way, you can't hire a competing. If someone comes to you as a construction
if some guy says I'm the condo man, I'm like, get the hell out of here.
I've got an exclusive agreement with you. Yeah, I know where you live.
So condo development, I agree. But does it? What about a construction company? No. Because my next guest is a construction guy. Is that too close for comfort?
Yeah,
I'm just busting your chops.
You can't have
here,
anyone.
Nick. Come on. You've got the exclusivity.
I know where you live, and there's I think there's a Jason mask sitting right on your.
That's because I got to protect myself from guys like you. But Nick, episode 1 in the books. We've learned a lot more about you, and we got a sense of your personality. I can't wait for episode 2 when there'll be it won't be you and I. It'll be you and a guest. But am I allowed? This is my big question on the record.
I think.
Am I allowed to chime in as your co-host?
Well, I wanted to see how this podcast took place, and I wanted to get a feel whether you would be a good addition to our team. I think you're a good addition to our team, Mike.
Too many Seinfeld references. I'll try to curb my enthusiasm. See what I did there?
I think you're doing good. I think this is a great podcast. I think you and I get along well. You may have to intervene a couple of times, break up a fight if on the podcast, if it ever goes that way.
That's why the Jason Mask is here.
Yes.
Do what I got to do. So thank you, everybody, for listening to this first episode of Building Toronto Skyline, a podcast exploring the current state of Toronto's condominium industry from a unique construction perspective. Your host for this show and future episodes, of course, is the founder and CEO of Fusion Corp Developments, Inc., and he's the author of Building Toronto Skyline. Of course, I'm referring to Nick Ainis.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed this, and obviously, we want to say that it's sponsored by Fusion Corp. We're a construction management company. We're ready to build amazing buildings in Toronto. So give us a call. Anybody can talk to me anytime. Toronto Mike, I want to say this has been a great opportunity. I look forward to episode 2, and we're going to have a great time. And we're off to something really, really special. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Nick.